The Louis Molina Show, Friday edition with Tony, Catalina, and producer Caleb Rapoli. It is the final of 4 shows here between us on this summer edition of the Louis Molina Show. It's been fun, honestly. I know if you guys have been annoyed by my presence, and trust me, I'm sure there's a few, more than a few, this will be the last one, like I said. But I do appreciate the opportunity. I genuinely have enjoyed doing this and talking to y'all. And, you know, for me, the changing of the calendar going to August is when it really gets fun for me as a fan, as somebody who's in the sports world. Football season is the best season. I don't know if many people would disagree with that, but I only say that to say, hey, when July comes and this opportunity ends, football comes, and I think we'll all be busy. We'll all be entrenched in it. But thank you. Just wanted to start off by saying thank you for this. Everyone's been super responsive, super great with me, and so just wanted to start there. Secondly, where I wanted to go is talk to Caleb. First off, how's the week been? How's it been? I mean, this is the calm before the storm, man. I just kind of set it up like that. We're going to have football to really, really talk about next week. How's your week been?
You know, you say it's the calm before the storm, but really this is the storm before the calm for me, because this is the last week of me being on air like 4 or 5 times in a single week.
Yeah, you're grinding.
Yeah, starting in August, I think it'll just be once a week for me. On Fridays with Ryan on Sports Talk. So it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed getting to talk as much as I have, but it will be nice to sit back and let the professionals do what they do best. I'm not going to lie.
And that's why I'm stepping aside. No, but with that being said, honestly, Caleb, I've been thinking, the viewers have been thinking, the listeners, like, it's been great. And honestly, a huge thank you to you. You've done a million things for me in the back end. You've helped set up and make this process seamless. Really grateful for you. And I think we've had some fun, too. That's the best part in all this. Is, you know, it's been good to just talk ball. But on that point, talking ball, I just kind of want to set the table for what we got going on in today's 2 hours. Again, the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox is open. As always, you can text at 979-693-1150 all through the 2 hours. If you can say, hey, good riddance, or thank you, or whatever you want to talk about, we could do that as well. And in the second hour, we're going to be doing the ticket booth. It will be open thanks to the Dixie Tire Company. Caller 5 will win a $50 gift card. I'll let you guys know, to Rudy's Barbecue with the second hour. Again, we'll talk about that as always. But to set the stage, I think we have an action pack. It's going to be football centric, but there is a lot to talk about, and I kind of wanted to discuss it further. We're going to be talking about the fact, a little preseason primer next week. The schedule, it kind of gets on and popping there. And then we have an exclusive. I had an interview with Anto Saka at the celebrity softball game. I think you guys are really interested and be intrigued by that. I had a quote go kind of viral, and it's totally fine, but I think the proper context, the full conversation is worthy of your time. I spent a good 8-9 minutes with them, and so I think you guys will enjoy that. Really, really insightful, really motivating. If you're an A&M fan, I think you'll like what he had to say. Going to touch more about the A&M football expectations. What can we expect from this season? What do we really think is possible? I'll get Caleb's opinion on that. And then we'll talk about Big Ten versus the SEC, some notable weight changes as far as A&M players and what that looks like. And then we'll dive into the 2 deep depth chart prediction, what I think it may look like. And obviously it's just my opinion. This is, we're going to kind of opine on that. But just wanted to kind of set the table and set the stage for you. And this really wasn't on the sheet of what we're going to do today, but to kind of paint a picture for you, Caleb, I got dunked on last night by head coach Mike Elko on Twitter, and I don't think I'd ever see those collective words ever come out of my mouth before. That was, for the people that don't know, let me kind of set the stage for you. Last night, I'm cooking dinner. I'm making a mess. There's pots and pans everywhere. I'm trying to just enjoy my night. And I don't know about you guys, and you can tell me, Caleb, and anybody else who's listening, and my Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, I usually don't get push notifications unless it's like somebody who's verified or there's like an extensive follower account. So basically, if I see a Twitter notification actually pop up on my phone, it's probably something I should take a look at. And so last night, I'm looking at my account and I look at my phone and I hear it buzz. And I see the name and I'm like, there's no way this is real. I thought it was one of those fake like Twitter accounts or whatever. And, like a burner. You see it happen. But this one was from Coach Mike Elko on Twitter, who quote tweeted me, and it was a video of Texas A&M's pass rusher Marco Jones, who won the home run derby on Wednesday. If you were out in Davis Diamond, you know it was a great time. If you weren't, I highly recommend going next year. It is fun. It's just like just a fun night. It's full of entertainment. Those guys take it seriously. It's just a good time. But I had tweeted that Marco Jones was a back-to-back home run derby champion. And I won't throw anybody under the bus, but somebody in the press box had uttered those words, and that person, who will remain nameless, set me up for this dunk that absolutely gets slam dunked on me. And so, to my dismay, and maybe to my unprofessionalism, is I should have verified that. But hey, I'm in the moment. Everyone's relaxing. We're having fun in Davis Diamond. And I tweeted out, I say, back-to-back champion of the home run derby, Marco Jones, who is utterly impressive. And obviously, he should have played baseball, could have played baseball here, decided to focus on football, but the kid is a supreme athlete, outstanding baseball player, was hitting the softballs literally into the parking lot. Like, anybody who parked in that front row was in serious jeopardy of some damage, and I'm not even joking.
It didn't really seem fair that he was allowed to participate, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no. Honestly, too, to kind of veer off, Terry Bussey kind of impressed me. He put a good charge on a ball. I know Isaiah Horton from talking to him back in April, like, he was raring to get going, and he had a good show, and he had a couple home runs. So, like, there were some athletic feats showing up.
And he talked some trash too.
He talked a lot of trash. And I would say, and we could talk about this further, but the person who impressed me the most, who wasn't even really a baseball or softball player, was Mario Craver, and it was because of his demeanor. He was legitimately upset when his team was losing. He was mad when people had errors. He was mad when people weren't making plays. Like, watching Mario Craver show his competitive juices, I'm like, I can only imagine what he's like on Saturdays on the field, because in this softball game, he was ready to fight. You know what I mean? He was having a good time, and he was dead serious about winning. But
quick, can I jump in real quick on Isaiah Horton talking mess? So when we got him out of the portal from Alabama, everybody was saying this is the first time in a while A&M's had a true X wide receiver.
Yeah.
And there's a few different boxes that you have to check, in my opinion, to be a true X wide receiver. I mean, you got to have speed. You got to be able to get those jump balls. I think you got to be at least 6'3". He's 6'4". And the final and, in my opinion, most important, you got to be able to talk trash to those corners.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be able to get in their heads. So seeing Horton talking trash to Marcel Reed while he's rounding the bases, that made me very happy.
It's funny, and that had started, like I said, I did that for people. I've talked about it a few times, but I did that feature story on Marcel Reed, and I got to spend a whole day with him. Part of that day was with Isaiah Horton, because they were working out together, and those conversations they were heated about this game in April. Mm-hmm. Like, Isaiah Horton was like, I'm in the home run derby. He wasn't asking, he was telling people, right? And then Marcel struck out by Kate Mutterlin last year, struck him out in the softball game. He was still upset about that to this day. And so it was just a lot of fun. If you're an A&M fan and you love A&M football, like, it was not to like promote it, because I'm not here to promote, but it was a great time. It really was. But to that point, on Twitter, Coach Elko, who hasn't tweeted since like May, comes out of the woodshed to absolutely dunk on me. And to that point, what he tweeted was, and I don't want to butcher it, he said, "Can we get a fact check on this?" and tagged Maya Perez with the thinking emoji. And he's right. Maya Perez won it last year, not Marco Jones.
Again, seems kind of unfair.
It's unfair. Maya Perez, she's hitting bombs, and so is Marco Jones. And so, hand up, my bad, Maya Perez. I was wrong. But, just to see Elko do that, and we get to see Coach Elko a lot, and we get to talk to him a bunch throughout the offseason when, we get different. We see him a lot more in the regular season, but this offseason, due to camps and stuff, without all of the responsibilities that come with the in-season prep and stuff, I got a chance to like talk to Coach Elko, and he's a funny dude. Like, I don't think people realize, like, he's from the Northeast, which I can completely understand and relate to. New Jersey guy, like somebody who is going to break. He's going to break balls, right? Like, he's somebody who is going to tease, and he's going to joke on you. And I ended up on the tail end, the receiving end of that quite a few times this offseason. And I'm going to take that as a sign of respect and endearment, right? Like, I don't know.
For sure.
So, no, it's been great. So
she did comment. I don't know if you saw that.
She did comment. And honestly, it was funny because I had talked about, and we teased it, when we come out of the break, we're going to play it. But I had talked about the Anto Saka interview, and I tweeted it out. I did a story on it first. And, it got attention. It was getting notifications, but then it started coming rapidly. And then I realized it was because after Elko dunked on my neck, everybody was going to check out my Twitter page, and it's the first tweet. So I'm like, shout out to Coach for throwing me a lob there. I mean, if you're going to dunk on me, you might as well give me some attention. I saw that. I know you're about to talk about. Go ahead. You want to break it out? We can.
We do have a little bit of breaking news.
Oh.
Yet another theme night for Aggie Football.
A big one, though.
November 27th against them. TU will be Maroon Out night for the Lone Star Showdown. And I know that was probably obvious to a lot of people, but it's still just...
I don't know if it's necessarily obvious, though. Like a Maroon Out theme night.
I assume this means we're going to wear all maroon.
All maroon.
It better mean that.
I
Because
would think so.
Or last time we played them, we did the classic quote-unquote uniform matchup with the maroon helmets, jerseys, and then white pants. I think we should just go... Honestly, I would be fine with letting them wear burnt orange.
Okay.
And going full maroon
like color on
orange.
color. I like that. I'm a fan of that.
I think that would look great. But.
So I want to ask you, because you would know better than I would. People are receptive to just the one color jersey, like the maroon helmet, maroon pants, maroon jersey. Like that's like that's a look that people enjoy.
I think so. I mean, as long as that's not the only thing you do. Yeah. Like I think if they only did, just maroon, just white, just black, I think people would get tired of that. But it is something that it's all about variety. I wouldn't want them to only wear that at home. I like the white helmets. I like the white pants. Yeah. But I think the monochrome color scheme can look good.
I think,
especially when it's maroon.
When you're talking about the burnt orange versus the all maroon, I think that would be a good look. We just said that, but I do think it's going to end up being maroon versus all white.
Oh yeah, it's never. I don't think they're ever going to do that.
Yeah,
but it would be cool.
I came from the time where when I was at Georgia, they would do the home versus home at the outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville. It would be like blue jersey Florida versus red jersey Georgia. Right. And there's a great look.
Utah, BYU, and the Holy War, they do that.
I love that.
It always just looks so clean, especially red versus blue. Especially, it's just like the classic, like almost video game matchup.
Sure.
Like in any capacity, it doesn't have to even be sports. It's always red versus blue. So that's always just a really good visual.
I totally agree. And so kind of veering off, I talked about Elko, we talked about the jersey, which is cool. Now there's got, 3 themes? And we don't got to dive into this too much because I want to talk about the other jersey themes in another segment coming up. But I wanted to jump in because we had got the schedule last night in the media. We know exactly what Texas A&M's football tentatively looks like, the practice schedule. And those things can change. And so what I speak on what I know now. But based on this, we're going to see them 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's going to be 13 opportunities for us in the media to either view part of practice, talk to players or coaches, or view full practices. And I honestly wanted to take the last couple minutes before we hit the break to just kind of thank the program for this because I'm entering year 3, which is crazy to say. I'm entering year 3 covering this football team. But I know people have been on this beat for decades, years. And from my understanding, the access hadn't been this good for a long time. And I think it's a huge credit, a huge thank you to the people who make those decisions because allowing us to be there allows us to be more educated, allows the fan, the viewer, the listener to be more educated. So giving us the opportunities to see and be able to talk from a place of know rather than a guess is a win-win for everybody. Now, I know this is coming from the top down. If Coach Elko didn't want us to be there, we would not be there, right? And so when I look at this, we're going to get a chance at 3 full practices. Now, what we can talk about, what we're allowed to discuss will be, variable, right? It's just different things of what we can actually discuss. But us being able to sit there for an entire practice and take it in is going to be tremendously valuable. Add into the fact that additionally, there's going to be, I believe, if my numbers are correct, 7 or 8 practices where we're going to at least view about 30-ish, 35 minutes of practice. So that helps too. I know people online love to see the clips and they love to talk about the videos and people like to run with them online, but giving us a chance to kind of go there and speak on it and actually be able to be there allows us to be like, well, don't let the online narratives run because we can tell you like we were there, this is nonsense or whatever. So thank you to the program. Thank you for allowing them to do that. I know when I was just a fan, I don't mean that just as a negative thing, but this wasn't a job to me and I was just a fan who loved football as a purist who was looking on Twitter. I would absolutely love the beat writers who could post videos and be able to kind of see. I'm doing that now. I kind of got FOMO about the people that I follow at the Cowboys who are out in California and Oxnard with the Dallas Cowboys, and I get to watch practice film. I love that stuff. So the idea that I get to do that and I get to provide that to fans is great. And I'm going to open it up, 979-693-1150, knowing that comes next week. Who do you guys want to see? Let me know who you guys want film of. I mean, I always think like it's good to get some Marcel Reed clips. It's good to get some Isaiah Horton, Mario Craver clips. Are there any players that you guys you need to see or want to see? Maybe we're not talking about enough. I think that's the best thing about this radio show is that I can actually speak to the fan. Caleb, you're one. Who do you want to see film of?
Before I say who I want to see film of, I just want to real quick on that.
Yeah.
I remember last year before we really knew who the third receiver option was going to be behind. I mean, because we knew Casey and Mario were the guys, but then in fall camp there was a lot of Ashton Bethel Roman film, and I think that's really when his hype train started.
Yeah.
And that kind of propelled his whole season. So that was really cool to see, and I'm very interested to see who, might have a similar arc like he did last year.
I'm glad you said that. Let's hold it until the break. We'll hit the break here in a second. We can jump on the rest of that, but I'm glad you said that because I want to touch about it more. When we come back, we'll have the Anto Saka interview, and we're going to continue this discussion because I think Caleb just opened up a really good conversation point here on The Zone.
Do you need help with your air conditioning? Like, it can be fast repairs. Maybe it's routine maintenance. Maybe you just need a brand new system. Well, Still Creek Mechanical, they're the help you need. You can go get that more information, stillcreekmechanical.com. You can go schedule an AC consultation at stillcreekmechanical.com. And you can get $100 off of all repairs just by saying The Zone, the Louis Bellina Show. Louis Bellina, that's right. Mention any, and you get $100 off of repairs. You can call. It's not just all websites. You can call 979-595-4253. Still Creek Mechanical's Aggie owned, operated. Still Creek Mechanical been serving the Brazos Valley for over 20 years. Still Creek Mechanical. They have the services. They can do all the services, all makes, all models, and they treat your home like it's their home. Go to the website, stillcreekmechanical.com.
All right, listen up, class.
The Money Machine is open now. Make sure to enter each week.
Everyone comes out a winner
At Zone1150.com or through the Zone newsletter to win $5,000.
The Louis Bellina Show, Friday edition with Tony Catalina and producer Caleb Rapoli. Second segment here, we are going to play the Anto Saka interview. I got a exclusive one-on-one conversation with him on Wednesday at the celebrity softball game. I think it's a really, really insightful information from him, honestly. Like, I just set him up and he had a lot of good things to say. I know there was a couple quote graphics that went viral. I think it's far more interesting and complex than just that, but that's just, I'll let you guys listen to it. But before we get into that, I want to spend a couple minutes because, Caleb, you made a good point, and I want you to finish your point. You were talking about Ashton Bethel Roman's kind of ascension based on the videos you saw in camp, and I know you had a second part to that, so I wanted to give you the floor to speak.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who the name is that jumps up and kind of surprises some people, and with as much as we've talked about, the sleepers that we think aren't getting talked about enough, I don't know that it'll be too surprising to us necessarily,
sure,
but maybe to people that haven't been as dialed in during the offseason. So a guy that I like, especially with the weight changes that came out after the official fall roster dropped. So a certain wide receiver gained 14 pounds over the offseason. Aaron Gregory, I think, is going to have a similar rise. I think it'll be eerily similar to what happened with ABR last year. So that's who I'm excited to see.
So I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you kind of said it and prefaced it the way you did because, listen, I'm not giving away any tools of the trade here, but at the same time, we're understandably limited in what we can share from what we see and what we know, because we can't come out right and just be like, this is what it is, because I don't want to speak for the program and they don't want me to speak for them. But I think for the people who see us on Twitter, and I'll speak for myself only, right? But it is a group of people that are all understanding and seeing the same stuff. Like, I think majority of the people that go to these practices have a fundamental understanding of what we're looking for in football. So consensuses can come together, right? Like, I think when you see things that are too plain English, it's hard not to come to the same conclusion sometimes. So what I say is, when I post clips, I post very intentional clips. So like you said, and it kind of pinged in my head like a light bulb when you said Ashton Bethel-Roman, we saw him a lot in preseason last year. I'm so glad you said that, because that was something that was a blinking red light to all of us. Mm-hmm. From the spring into preseason, we knew Ashton Bethel-Roman as wide receiver 3 felt like something that had real smoke, real traction, and was something that was real. This kid was a guy who had been talked about all off season as somebody who's going to step up big. So when you see the film and you see him doing well, that was a blinking red light. So I'm glad you said that. So be on the alert of when you see these clips. At least from me, from me, I'm going to give you the real. I'm going to do everything I can to be as real as absolutely possible with you guys. When you see clips this fall, know that there's intention behind it, right? We're not trying to tell you or move your mind or anything like that, but we're in the know. We're trying to be informed, and we're trying to get you informed as well. So don't think that like everything is, dismissive or any of that. I'm trying to be intentional about what I post. That being said, this guy, Anto Saka, who we're about to play the interview for, is somebody I expect a big season from. I think Texas A&M expects a big season from him. And honestly, I'm not a very big dude, but standing next to him, I never felt smaller in my life. This is a massive human being, huge dude, strong dude. I think he's going to be an outstanding pass rusher, and he's actually a great interview and a great quote. So, Caleb, I think we're going to cue that up, get that played here, and this is Anto Saka on Wednesday with me, an exclusive interview. Tony Catalina here with Texas A&M defensive lineman Anto Saka. Anto, this is the celebrity softball game out here at Davis Diamond. Just give me a quick look into who you think is going to be the best, who do you think is going to do the worst, and just what should we be looking out for tonight? And again, when this comes out on Friday, we'll see if your predictions come true or not.
Well, me being new here, I don't know too much, but I've heard a lot of things about Marco Jones, and I heard a lot of things about Marcel Reed as well. So, but if I had to put money on somebody, I'll probably go with Marco Jones to do really well today.
And the home run derby, is that kind of the same prediction? Is it Marco that could probably take that?
Most definitely. I'm rocking with Marco all the way.
Okay, so into more real questions. Obviously, you came over here from Northwestern, come in through the transfer portal. Just talk about the decision to come here. What kind of enticed you, Mike Elko, this defense, and how does it kind of suit you and fit what you're trying to do in this final year?
Yeah, what really got me on the A&M train is just really the success I've seen Coach Elko really have with the programs that he's been a part of. I've seen that Texas A&M was on the up and up. They just made the playoffs, and then more importantly, the amount of success that they had with guys in my position. They've had guys like Cassius Howard, Shamar Stewart to come here, Nick Scorin to come here as well, and they've all found a lot of success in this scheme. So I wanted to be a part of that, and hopefully I could be part of that next line of great edge rushers come out of here.
And you mentioned that's a good part in this, is just the guys that come before you have done so well. A part of, you don't got to give up like the tricks and the things they were saying to you, but part of the recruitment process, how much was that the proof of success there, and how much was it the system and the fit that kind of allowed you to say, hey, this is the right spot for me?
They both went hand in hand. I mean, obviously the proof is in the pudding. They made the playoffs this past year, won the first 11 games. So obviously the scheme and what they've been able to do on defense is it works. Everybody can see that. But also, obviously you want to go somewhere where people in the same shoes as you have had success. So they really went hand in hand with each other.
And so obviously this offseason first in with A&M in this offseason program, what's it been like working with Tommy Moffitt, and just kind of you're a big dude, right? Like there's no doubt about it. So how much has Tommy Moffitt kind of helped you kind of develop and grow in that, and what's the offseason been like in the program?
Yeah, Coach Moffitt has been instrumental in my development this offseason. Since I've been here, the amount of weight I've put on, the amount of muscle that I've added to my body, as well as how well my body's been feeling throughout this whole process, it's honestly been amazing. Coach Moffitt is the man, and what he's done for this entire program, y'all gonna see it in the fall.
Yeah, and obviously, what did you play at last year, and where are you at now, and where do you want to be, come week one?
Yeah, so last year I was barely scratching 250 for the most of the year. I say I was between 248 and 250 for most of the year. This year, right now, I'm about 257. I would love to play between that 55 and 60 range.
And obviously, as far as the X's and O's go, they got you doing some different things. Like you've done really well against the run. You've had some success in the pass rush. What about this defense is going to allow you to kind of unlock your game?
Yeah, it's just the amount of freedom I guess I'll have to have to me just being an athlete and really just using my tools and things that I'm really good at, just being explosive and just being able to get off the ball. That's really the main thing right there. The scheme allows me to play fast. It puts people in position to make a lot of big plays, so that's the thing I'm most excited about.
And obviously, outside of you, just when you look at the pass rush group and maybe the defensive line as a whole, who's kind of stood out to you as somebody that's, hey, like we should be paying attention to if we're not paying attention enough to them right now?
Really, the whole D-line has made some crazy jumps. I'm really excited about guys like DJ Hicks. I'm really excited about guys like Landon Rink. Sam and Peppa's made a lot of big strides. TJ Searcy, real stout against the run game. Marco, he's a freak. You have to be really excited about Marco as well. The whole D-line has really been making me proud, so I'm really happy for y'all to see him in this short time.
And obviously, one of the major changes from this year was that Lyle Hemphill is now the defensive coordinator. What's it like been working under him, and just how hands-on is he with maybe the pass rush group and maybe the defensive line? I know he's kind of a secondary guy at first nature.
Yeah, Coach Hemp, he's the man. I love him. Real intense guy. He's real passionate about what he does out there. Coach Hemp always makes an effort to come over here, chop it up with the D-line, and really work hand-in-hand with us in terms of, especially when it comes to our drops at the jack position as well. So I really feel like he's really had his hand on the D-line as well, but I'm excited about him. He's going to do some big things this year.
And so big picture this season, you've come in here, new guy, it's kind of a new experience for you. How hands-on did you want to be with the leadership and, being a veteran guy, somebody with skins on the wall, did you want to come in and have a voice, or are you more so kind of like let it come to you and let it play naturally?
I'm more of a guy that lets it come to me and let it play naturally. I'm a guy that I love to be a leader by example. Even back at my old school, I've been on leadership council there. I'm on leadership council here. And that's mostly just because of how I do things day in and day out. I'll speak when needed to, but I feel like in my position right now, that's not needed of me. We have a lot of strong leaders on this team. Guys like Marcus Ratcliffe, Marcel Reed, Damian Sanford, Michael Riley. So guys like that who have been here, who really have I guess a staple in this program. That's their job. I feel like to really have that voice. But for me to add on and kind of build onto the culture and what we're trying to do, for me to come in and do things the right way every day, I feel like that's my role in this team right now.
And you mentioned some guys that are first-year captains like Marcel Reed, Damian Sanford. Damian's kind of known to be a little quiet, not so much for it in the media. What have you seen from Marcel and Damian so far that's like kind of stood out to you?
From my first day here, especially with Dame, he's a competitor through and through. He likes to come out there. He likes to trash talk. He likes to get the guys rolling. That's him. So he might not show it for the media, but Dame, he's a strong voice, he's a strong presence, and everybody respects him out there. And a guy like Marcel's outspoken. He's our quarterback. He has to be. And the things that I've seen from him this past season, he's taken a lot of strides in terms of just being there for guys and really speaking up more. At the end of workouts, at the end of practices. So those guys, their two voices, they've definitely been heard this offseason.
Couple more and we'll get you out of here. Obviously, you talked about Marcel, the leader. You've gone against him in the spring. You've seen Marcel's work. What have you seen from him as a quarterback? Obviously, took tremendous strides last year. What have you seen from your QB on the field?
Well, one, that boy is dynamic. He's a dynamic athlete for sure. But I feel like one thing that I guess has kind of been a knock about him that I've thought like he's done a great job of this offseason is really throwing that ball. I feel like he's been a lot more like precise, and I feel like he's shown that he has an arm. He's a quarterback. He is a quarterback. He can win games with his arm. So I'm excited for y'all to really see the strides that he's made this offseason.
And last question for you. Obviously, last year was a big year for this program. 11 wins, hosted a college football playoff, but ultimately didn't get to where they wanted to. What is the message in that locker room? What is the sense, the feeling? I mean, you're coming into a brand new, but what is your kind of the vibe from Elko and everybody as you get ready for this big upcoming season?
We've been there, so what now? Are we going to take the next step, or are we going to fall off? Everybody's kind of been operating with that same mentality that for the first 11 games, where we were at, we were wherever we wanted to be, and then something happened. So what are we going to do about that something? Are we going to be satisfied with winning 11 games? or we're going to push it and we're going to make the championship. That's really been on everybody's mind, championship or nothing. And we have the opportunity, we have the team to do it. So
Appreciate it, Anto, man. I thank you.
no doubt.
That was Anto Saka along with me at the celebrity softball game on Wednesday. We're going to catch a break here in a second, but when we come back, we'll dissect it all, everything he said, some good quotes, some good information for somebody who should be a big piece of the puzzle this year here on The Zone.
The Houston Astros play on the zone. Thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
The Louis Bellina Show, Friday edition here with Tony Catalina and producer Caleb Rapoli. The final of 4 of me hosting on Fridays here at The Zone. If you guys have any conversations or anything you want to talk about, 979-693-1150, the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Coming out of the break, we're going to continue the conversation with Anto Saka. That was an interesting convo, I thought. At least he had some things to say there that I thought were pretty fascinating. You made a good point, Caleb, when we were talking about it off air, is you were impressed at the fact that he used the word we, right? He's kind of already jumped into the fact that he's a part of this team. So their shortcomings last year were his shortcomings and their successes were his success. But what I was really impressed by was just the attitude. And you always wonder what the attitude of somebody coming in would be like. And his what now attitude, like what do we do now, I thought was super impressive. And for people who missed it or didn't get the exact quote, his exact quote to me was, "We've been there, so what now?" And then he added, "Are we going to take the next step or are we going to fall off?" Everybody has kind of been operating with that same mentality that for the first 11 games, we were where we wanted to be, and then something happened. So what are we going to do about that something? And I thought that was really impressive because he came over. He's expected to be one of the transfer portal additions that are having the biggest impact. And he's right. A&M was 11-0 last year, and the final 2, they collapsed, and it didn't go the way that they envisioned and the way they thought it would. He believes he can be a piece that can make them and help them go over the top. But it's just an idea, I think. And I don't think it's just him, right? When you come into this program, that's probably the message that's permeating from the wall, from the top down. Like, they were 11-0. They fell in the final 2. How do we take the next step, and what's that next step look like? So I thought I was really impressed by that. Caleb, I hadn't really gotten your thoughts on it. When you listened to that, you had to cut it up for me. You had to listen to it a couple times. What is your overarching takeaways from that conversation?
Well, like you mentioned, I really appreciate the fact that he said we and not they when he mentioned last year's team, even though he wasn't technically a part of it.
Sure.
So that's always a good sign, I think, that a player is bought into the culture and views himself as a part of this program, not just a part of this year's team. So excited for that. I think he's going to fit in really well. And I think that's the mindset that you have to have if you're going to compete at a high level in college football. I mean, we know Coach Elko has that mindset because everybody's seen the quotes from SEC Media Days when he said, "How do you keep your players from being satisfied? I show them our trophy case,
right,
and it's empty."
Exactly.
So I think that Elko is doing a very good job of leading by example with that mindset, and it's apparently trickling down to the players.
For sure. And the quote that got the most attention yesterday, and you probably took it from that audio there, was the fact that he said championship or nothing, and we have the team to do it. Like, I see that comment, and obviously when you quote graphic it and it gets up and you give a chance to opposing fans to kind of, to get their things into it and kind of bookmark it and try to dunk on people with that, that's what it is today in today's social media world. But in the reality, that is the exact mentality you want a player to have. Like, that to me, you'll never make me think that's corny to say that. You'll never make me feel bad about that. That's a guy who understands what he came here to do. He didn't come here to go 11-2 and just go away and go to the NFL draft.
Yep.
He wants to win a championship. And if you say anything else than that, I think you're going to get dunked on even harder.
So, dunk culture is very much out of hand on social media
crazy
right now.
It's nuts.
But there are times when a coach or a player saying championship or bust is, like you said, corny. Like,
Sure.
if you went 4-8 last year, then when you say that, people are gonna dunk on you because, like, and I know that's just coach speak and player speak. Like, they kind of have to. Like, it's a bad look if you don't say we're gonna win the championship.
Right.
But that is, in my opinion, when it gets a little like, okay, well, you didn't really need to say that when you're not in a position to win. But this is a Texas A&M team that went 11-2 last year and was one game away from the SEC championship for the second year in a row. So it is championship or bust.
Right.
It is. You need to make a deep run this year, or there's that chance of regression and stagnation.
For sure. And to the point of that, and I had kind of mentioned it already, but this is a guy they believe is a chess piece that helps put them over the top, right? So this is a player saying this who isn't just a guy who's going to be a bench player. This is a guy who's going to come in. If he's not an every down player, he's going to have a severe impact on the defense in this unit and how they perform. The way they view it and the way they probably sold it to him in the transfer portal and the way that he's believing it is, I'm coming in here to be a difference maker. So that attitude is the absolute correct one. So I thought that was interesting. Now, when you look at it, because obviously we talked about how football preseason camp is kicking off tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of conversation points and we're going to finally see people on the field. But when you look at this roster and you look at this team and you look at the schedule, all of the conversation has been about the schedule is tougher and how do they respond after last year and do they take another step or do they regress back? And ultimately, what's going to matter most is what's on the field here. But this is a team and a program that feel like they're on the cusp of making this a standard and not a one-off. And to me, whether you believe or agree or disagree or not, that, to me, in my opinion, is the message that's kind of being sent in that locker room, is that a guy like Anto Saka can come in and be a difference maker to get us over the top. A guy like Isaiah Horton can come in and be a difference maker to help us get over the top. And I had said this a few times. I've had conversations with Isaiah Horton where he had told me, I'd seen from a friend's perspective, as a college football perspective, the Miami game and how it didn't go the way it needed to, and they didn't have the big X receiver in the red zone to help them get over the top in Miami. And he had told me, I could have been a difference maker in that scenario. I know I could have helped Marcel Reed in that spot. And so now you look at the way A&M's built and the respect I have for Elko as a program builder and a coach, is you look at some of the deficiencies they had last year and some of the holes they've had to fill since off season. You look at guys, they're like, oh, this is by design, right? Ray Coney comes in to fill in for Torian York. Anto Saka is going to come in to fill in for Cassius Howe. Isaiah Horton's coming in to be the X receiver they haven't had since Noah Thomas, and and to my opinion, he's way more talented than Noah Thomas is. And so you look at it, they hadn't had much ball protection at tight end. They bring in Houston Thomas. They bring in Richie Anderson. They needed offensive line play with SEC experience. They brought in 4 guys with exactly that. So they have a plan. They have an idea. And when people say A&M's coming in to reload, not rebuild, I think their moves are absolutely fact-bearing on that sentiment.
Yeah, you mentioned Ray Coney, and I think that's somebody that's kind of flying under everybody's radar just because of all of the Damian Sanford questions of, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be ready for week 1? And because of all the chatter around Sanford, Ray Coney's not really getting the hype that I think he deserves, and I think he's poised to be, the next great Aggie linebacker. And, we've had a lot of really, really solid linebacker play over the last, 10 years, really. Mm-hmm. So I think he's next up in that line. I'm really excited to see him play. Yeah,
to add to your point, Ray Coney paired with Damian Sanford felt wow, this is a really good move. This is a guy who had 129 tackles last year for Tulsa. There's things, I don't care what level you play at, sideline to sideline, athletic, football IQ, being able to identify, make plays, shed blocks, and get in the backfield to make tackles for losses. That's stuff that translates, right? He's big, he's strong, he's talented. He's going to be great in the middle. That's my opinion. But he became wow, this is great, to wow, this was clutch because they need him, right? Who knows how long Damian Sanford's going to be out? I don't know. I'm telling you, as somebody who's had the conversations off the record, on the record, I couldn't tell you exactly what it's going to look like right now. They're keeping that close to the vest. I do think it's encouraging because they put him out there, and he's somebody who is a captain who deserves the opportunity to speak for himself. But now Ray Coney not only becomes a huge piece, now he becomes a vital piece in the middle of that defense. Right now he has to. Is it going to be Noah McHale next to him? Is it going to be Jordan Lockhart? Is it one of the freshmen that are highly touted? So now Ray Coney becomes that calming presence in the middle of that defense. But we're going to hit a break here in a couple of minutes. But before we do that, Anto started the conversation about expectations. He set their expectations. He knows what it is. It's championship or bust. That's what they want. That's what he came here for. Is there any reason to believe in your mind, Caleb, that they should have any other doubt about that? I know people have talked about the schedule, and the schedule will be harder, and 9 games in the SEC, and they got to travel to Alabama, they got to travel to Oklahoma, and they got to travel to LSU. Is it still championship or bust in your mind? That's not a crazy statement, is it?
So, okay, as a fan, I don't think it's championship or bust. I think, so for me to be not disappointed in this season, we need at least one playoff win, and that will, I think, show progress. So for the players, championship or bust should be their mindset, and they shouldn't be satisfied with anything less, because I think that's the only way to build a top-tier program. So obviously, we're not going to be fully satisfied unless that happens. But as a fan, if we get to the playoff, especially with this much tougher schedule that we'll have this year, at least, it lines up that way on paper, which last year it lined up that way on paper, and it didn't turn out to be that way at all. A lot of teams that we thought were going to be good ended up falling off. Like, Missouri was touted as a tough road game, and we went over there and kind of wiped the floor with them.
Right.
So it could shake out that this schedule doesn't end up being that tough.
If
Alabama falls off like a lot of people think they might, if Lane Kiffin doesn't get it going in year one, and South Carolina could fire Shane Beamer before we even get there. So it could end up being that this schedule is a lot softer than it looks on paper right now, but a playoff win is my bar personally.
Yeah, and so 979-693-1150, the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Let us know what your expectations are for A&M this year, and maybe how you felt about Anto Saka's confidence, his demeanor, his message, because I think it's right, but I'm curious to see what the fans think. To a media perspective, because you gave it from a fan perspective, you said as a fan, this is where I would be comfortable with. I think when you look at year 3 in this season that's about to start kickoff next week, it's a transformable year. And I don't think it is any way possible, other than complete total collapse, that it could go bad for A&M. And I say that to say there's so much to gain from this season, but there is very little that can be lost. Now, if they fall back and regress to 8-4 and go 7-5 or whatever the case may be, there will be boo birds and there'll be whispers of, hey, like it was just a one-off, and they'll have to overcome that. But I think the joy and the possibility of putting themselves in an upper tier, upper echelon with the rest of the country, where people think, hey, they're here to stay, is so magnifyingly big to me. Like, it's just insane. If they go 10-2 and go back to the playoffs, and people talk about how hard the schedule was, and they still find a way to overcome it, find themselves within the CFP conversation again, maybe in a national title conversation, I don't know what you could say about Mike Elko or this program that to discredit them anymore, right? Like, at some point in time, a program overcomes their narrative, so to speak, for a lack of a better term. I remember being in Georgia in 2016 when the message was Georgia couldn't get it done. Georgia couldn't get over the hump. What's Kirby Smart going to do? They went 8-5 that year and beat TCU in the Liberty Bowl, right? And then next year, the SEC championship, they're winning titles, and the narrative about Georgia is now that there's this dominant figure for the last 10 years. Why couldn't this year be the type of arc for A&M? They have the resources. They're in the most dense, talent-rich state in the country as far as football goes. They got resources. People care. They have a coach who has a good mind for it. So to me, when I look at 2026, there's nothing they're going to do this year outside of, like I said, a total collapse that's going to change how I feel about necessarily their build. But there's so much to gain from a positivity standpoint. Yeah. And, for me, I think Anto Saka that's a message that is permeating from all of the walls in that building in the Bright Slocum Center. And so I don't take any dismay off of that. I think he's absolutely right in that belief. And I think that he is not the only one who thinks that. When we get back, we'll have much, much more conversation about Texas A&M football as we get close to it here in the preseason on The Zone.
Listen to Aggie Football every game, every play. Come on The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Louis Bellina Show on a Friday. Tony Catalina alongside producer Caleb Rapoli. Before we kind of wrap up the first hour here, we had some good Texas A&M football conversation preseason camp right around the bend here. On Tuesday is the opening press conference with Mike Elko, some players as well. I'm going to have all the content you need, but I feel like, hey, we're right in it, right? I think at this point in time, my summer vacation is over. It was never a vacation, but hey, for the all intents and purposes, vacation is done and over with. Before we hit the break, though, again, and kind of wrap up the first hour, we had a couple of jersey announcements over the last couple days. Got the blackout versus Tennessee, and we got the red, white, and blue game against Arizona State. And we opened up the show at the top with the maroon out versus Texas on the Friday after Thanksgiving. I like this, right? Like, I'm a fan of different themes. I'm a fan of different jerseys. I still remember the energy of that LSU game when A&M came out with the Aggie black script and just what the vibe in that building was with that. And then you talk about when they came out with the, every time they've done something different, like the Florida game with the 1975
the throwbacks, yeah,
that was sick too. Where were you? Because obviously you're a student, you're a fan, you're somebody who bleeds the maroon and white. Do you love the different variant jerseys, or are you just like, hey, I like the classic, give me the old school like A&M look with the ATM?
So I think it was 2018 or 19 when they changed the jerseys from the beveled numbers, like the Johnny Manziel era jerseys with the stripes on the shoulders and the beveled numbers, and they changed to the basic, more block font and took the stripes away. And I just don't like those as much.
Okay.
So I am a big fan of all this variety that we're adding in because, for basically the whole time Jimbo was the coach, we didn't have any variety at all. We had 2 jerseys and, we had maroon and white for helmet, jersey, pants. And there was no variety. It was so boring. So I'm very happy and excited that this is... It's not, Oregon Ducks level,
sure,
which I don't want it to be because that's a little much.
Yeah,
I think this is a good amount of change and variety.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to misquote him, but I think if I remember correctly, Elko said he's kind of had more of a hands-on feel to the whole approach of it, which I think is fun. Like, if you're gonna be a coach and you're gonna make all these decisions, I think it'd be pretty cool to kind of have your hand in the mix of what they wear in the jerseys and stuff. To that point, I heard on it was Alex Miller and Robert Cessna a couple days ago. They were talking about different jerseys, and Alex made a good point about potentially putting Old Sarge on the helmet. I think that's a great look, and that's something I think the fan base would like. That Old Sarge look is sick. So for me, I'm not sure. How would you feel about that? You think your Old Sarge is the look that you'd go for?
It'd be cool. I don't know. There's a lot of different options that we have.
Perfect. And so we'll wrap up here the first hour. When we come back, we're going to talk some Big Ten, SEC, and everything else here on The Zone.